Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahabushai, Bahasham, Rakahakwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who ruled and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure unto the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson, and I'll be profiling a little bit of this YouTube clip from Sean Ryan Clips' YouTube channel titled, What Does Hell Look Like? And before we start, I can tell you exactly what hell looks like. It doesn't look like anything because it doesn't exist, and it's not biblical either. It's just mythology, taken from, these different religions out here and added, unto the Bible, through these wacky tacky Christians, the Roman Catholic Church, you have it, which, you've had priests come out before and say that, hell was used as a fear tactic. When you actually go to the scriptures, what happens after you die, and this goes for everybody, whether they were good or evil, hey, their body goes into the ground, but their spirit goes back up to the third heaven. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, your body going into the ground and decomposing, and the spirit, whether good or evil, shall return unto the Most High who gave it. Point blank, period. But wait, there's more. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3. I'm going to read verses 20 to 21. All go unto one place. All are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. So again, everybody. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, unto the Most High, to the third heaven, the spirit world, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth. And, when these animals out here die, since, animals are constantly repopulating, their spirit just goes into another, animal getting reborn into the earth. And that's another thing, reincarnation is also biblical. Because, when you go up to the spirit world, the third heaven where the Most High dwells, you're up there for 3 to 4 generations, and then you come back unto the earth through the loins of, your family line, and you live another life. And the process repeats itself over and over again. But let's jump up to verse 16. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment. And what's under the sun? The earth, the place of judgment. And, that is where, your punishment comes from. Because, these Christians say, you live the evil life, so you go burn in hell with Hellboy. No. If you committed wickedness on this side, you go up into the spirit world for 3 to 4 generations at peace. And then when you come back onto the earth, that's where your judgment takes place. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. Now I'm going to go to 2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha, chapter 14, verse 35. For after death shall the judgment come, the place under the sun, you coming back onto the earth, when we shall live again, and then shall the names of the righteous be manifest, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared. Hey, you see people's judgment. If somebody gets into a horrific car wreck and dies or gets deformed, that's judgment from the Lord. If a little child gets hit by a stray bullet, they're paying for something wicked they did in their past life. And, this is another thing that, emotional people out here don't want to hear. Nobody out here is innocent. Anything you see, people being born with deformities or Down syndrome as well, hey, they're paying for something wicked they did in their past life. Which, let me get that real quick. I believe it's in Job 4. Job 4 and 7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? Point blank, period. Anybody that goes through a horrific judgment on the earth, that's not just bad luck, or oh, that's unfair, or oh, how could there be a God if such horrific things happen? No, those people are simply going through, the judgment that's been ordained for them for something they did in their previous life, or hell, something they did in their current reincarnation. But before we get back to that video, I'm going to go to Job chapter 3. I'm going to read verses 11 to 19. Why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? Why did the knees prevent me? Or why the breasts that I should suck? For now should I have lain still and been quiet. I should have slept. Then had I been at rest, up in the third heaven, with kings and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves, or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as an hidden, untimely birth I had not been, as infants which never saw light. There the wicked cease from troubling, and the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there. Everyone's there, whether you were a good person or a bad person, and the servant is free from his master. And then after those 3 to 4 generations, you come back down onto the earth to live out your judgment. So again, I can tell you exactly what hell looks like. It doesn't look like anything because it doesn't exist. And a lot of it too goes back to, whenever, even whenever Yahushua speaks of hell in the scriptures, what he's referring to is what? The nuclear missiles that are going to be shot to the ends of the earth during World War III, and the people that are going to be getting burned up by those missiles, that wailing and gnashing of teeth. And another thing that description of hell goes back to is the Valley of Hinnom, or Tophet, which is also called Gehenna, which, was in the land of Israel, and it was like a mountainous valley that was a burn pit where they threw trash and, sacrifices took there as well. And where does that idea, when you hear people talk about hell, what do they say? Oh, it's a mountainous underground region with fire and burning, like the Valley of Hinnom or Gehenna. But without further ado, let's get into this clip. And I'm going to play, about 6 minutes or so of it. And this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
Near-death experiencers are reticent to come forward because this is a sacred experience that is hard to describe in our three-dimensional terms. So they don't often come forward readily. But even of those who have come forward, 23%, according to one study, came forward talking about having a hellish experience to some degree or another. And so these are common. This 2019 Europe.
And there are no near-death experiences. If the Most High wants to bring your spirit back up to the heavens, he's going to do so. The Most High has a 144% kill rate. So, these near-death experiences and, where people imagine they're in hell or something like that, that's just the Most High tormenting your spirit while he's got you passed out.
In Academy of Neurology, did a study across 35 countries, found that 5% of the population, or 1 out of 20, claims to have had a near-death experience. But they also found an even greater percentage that had hellish experiences or negative experiences. So you got to make sense of these as well. Interestingly, Jesus talked about hell a lot as something real, but not as a scare tactic. I think it's more as a look. This is reality, and what he came to do was that no one would go there.
Here we have another expert. I think this guy's, I think I've seen some clips on the internet where he goes around and, debates people that don't believe in the scriptures. So, a Christian. But here we have another wacky tacky Christian that doesn't understand the scriptures. And, when you go into the Strongs for that word hell in the New Testament, sometimes it says Gehenna, which again goes back to the Valley of Hinnom, that burn pit. And then even in the Old Testament, when you go into the Strongs, the word for hell is Sheol, which when you go into that, it means the grave. So, what? Your body, being in hell or the grave underground. And as we read in Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and Ecclesiastes chapter 3, your spirit going back up to the Heavenly Father.
But some do in their near-death experience. So, for instance, I interviewed this atheist college professor, tenured college professor, who was he was an art professor who was doing a tour with students in Europe, in France, and his lower duodenum ruptured. You usually have like 5 to 6 hours before you're dead because you're spilling all that junk into your cavity. And it was a weekend, so they couldn't find a surgeon in France. And after 8 hours, he died. Now, he thought when you die, it's just unplug the computer, screen goes blank, there's nothing. And that's not what happened. And instead, he said he was standing there by his bed. He felt the worst he had ever felt in his life, and suddenly he feels wonderful. And he doesn't even know he's dead. Like, he doesn't realize he's dead because he's sitting there thinking, something happened. I feel wonderful. And he feels these new senses. This group of people then come into the hallway, and he can see them in the hallway, and they're calling to him, Howard, come with us. And he said, I'm sick. I need a surgeon. That's.
And as the guy said, he just felt at calm and at peace. What the Most High, just me speculating, it took his spirit from his body because, the Most High can take your spirit and then put it back into your body. Lazarus, for instance, probably took him to the spirit world for a quick second. That was that peace. Because as we read in Job chapter 3, everybody is at rest up there. Put his spirit back into his body and then sent demons to torment his mind, his spirit, until he came back to consciousness.
What he's been waiting for. And they said, oh, we know all about you. Come with us. Don't you want us to help you? We're going to help you. Come on, we've been waiting a long time. Come with us. Okay, so time out. I like to point out that not every near-death experience is as deep as others, like meaning all the elements. So some there's an out-of-body experience and they're back in.
Okay.
Those can be interpreted in a million ways, right? A million worldviews can wrap around that. If Howard had at this point come back to his body and been resuscitated, his interpretation probably would have been, hey, it's all good. Atheists go to heaven. It feels great. It's nice.
Hey, he is right. Atheists do go to heaven. They're at peace, just like every other spirit of man that goes up to heaven. But, hey, when you come back down, that's when you face that judgment.
People, everything's good. But that's not what happened. So he starts to follow these people. And again, time and even distance, it doesn't work the same on the other side, which I don't fully understand that, except that by analogy, think about, from here to Austin, Texas, where I live, Nashville to Austin, it's a long way, right? It's a 2-hour flight. But what if I could think it and be there? How far is it now?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, distance doesn't mean the same thing. So on the other side, so he couldn't tell, and he follows these people, and he starts to realize they're deceiving him. They're starting to mock him. They're cursing him. They're all these, and he starts to realize this is not good. And then he realizes he's in this darkness, and it keeps getting darker, and he tries to say, hey, I want to go back. And they're like, you're not going anywhere. They start pushing and shoving, and he's he calls it a darkness that's darker than black. And I've heard people commonly say that. Jesus called it the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth, meaning like just, it's, I don't know, I guess just horrific. And that's what he experienced. And so he finally realizes he's being deceived by these creatures that he couldn't fully see completely. Because it was...
The Lord was using left-handed demons to torment that man in his spirit.
They were kind of veiled. But now it's dark and he can't see them, but he can feel them, and they start to maul him. He starts to try to fight to get away, and they're having fun. So I've had him talk to me about this 4 times, and he starts to describe it. And then he says to me, I can't go any farther, because he had PTSD from it.
Every single time
And
you interviewed him, he couldn't push past.
Yeah, he can't.
point.
There's a certain point that he would say, I can't go any farther because it's taken me a long time to... He had what, vets would call PTSD, because it's real. It's more real than this. And I think that's a experienced.
I say with that clip, you get the point. But hey, as we went through in the scriptures, there is no hell. That's just mythology and fairy tale stories. Again, when you die, your spirit goes up to the heavens, and then after 3 to 4 generations, you come back down to the place under the sun to receive your judgment. But now I'm going to close it out in Revelation chapter 20, verse 14, which if there is a hell, how do you Christians describe this? And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. So wait, if the lake of fire is hell, then how is hell being casted into hell? How is another dimension being casted into another dimension? It doesn't make any sense at all. The second death is speaking about, those nuclear missiles being shot during World War III, and the lake of fire is the United States of America, which is going to be turned, into the lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards. And death and hell being cast into the lake of fire. For one, there's going to be no more death for the children of Israel. The children of Israel, consisting of your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, beginning with the elect. Because when you read in 1 Corinthians 15, it talks about how that transition is going to happen, where, the elect, when they get beamed up onto the chariots, they're going to get those new spiritual bodies and be fully under the new covenant, where the laws, statutes, and commandments are going to be in them, and they're going to be immortal. O death, where is thy sting? And then the wicked of our people that were judged on this side are going to be reborn through the loins of the elect, under the new covenant, being immortals as well. So no more death, and hell can also go into a condition in the scriptures. When you're in your heavens, you're in rulership. When you're in your hell, you're in captivity. So once Yahushua comes back to save the elect, that's going to be the end of the hell or captivity of the children of Israel, but the beginning of the hell for you Edomites, or so-called white people, and you other heathen nations, because for the first 1,000 years of the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of Israel being built up, you're going to be in hardcore bondage and slavery. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.